Welcome to this chess video. I'm Grayson Manuel, and I'm rated USCF 1700.
And my name's Jeff Manuel, and I'm Grayson's dad. And I'm here just to make this funny because I don't really know how to play chess very well. My rating's 1150, and we're going to go over some of Grayson's games.
Okay, so to start with, the first game I want to look at is something from the Denver Open. Now, the Denver Open is one of the biggest tournaments in Denver, the city that I live in, and it even had a grandmaster playing in it. To start off, I played my first game against Craig Moffit, rated 1900. I was white, and he was black.
Let's see the game.
Okay, so the first move, I played d4.
Typical.
Yep. It's the starting move that I normally play. So, knight f6, so he's playing the Indian game. I played c4 just to gain space in the center. So now, the three most common moves here are e6, c5, and g6. So the c5 is the Benoni, e6 is the Nimzo Indian, and g6, the move you played, was the King's Indian. So the King's Indian defense, this is a modern style opening. The idea is to let me have the center and then to attack it like crazy. So I played knight c3, trying to control the e4 square and play e4. g7, e4, d6, and now I play bishop e2. Knight f3 is also a move, but I like to play the Averbakh, something I learned from Hanging Pawns. Go check him out. He's really great. Yeah, this is an opening I learned from. So,
Did you say the Averbakh?
The Averbakh.
Okay.
It's a tough pronunciation.
What's the benefit of the Averbakh?
So the Averbach's main goal is to play bishop g5. And the goal for this move is to prevent e4 or e5 by black, as we will show in the coming lines. So, black just castles, just a normal developing move, and I go bishop g5. So this is the beginning of the Averbakh, just to show you, if he ends up playing e5, the way to beat it is to take. Once black recaptures, you can you can trade queens on d8 and then follow it up with knight d5. And this forks the c7 square, which would trap this rook in here. And it also attacks the knight right here. So the moves that you can really play, the main move is just taking here. And in this situation, you have given up the exchange. And yeah, white's just up in exchange, and it's just a better position. Okay?
So don't do that.
Yeah, don't do that.
Okay.
So now the main move here is c5. There's also moves of h6, knight a6, knight d7. He played an interesting move. He played c6, and c6 is a move. However, it doesn't really attack the center as aggressively as you could. The main point is to play e5, and control the d5 square so that the knight d5 idea is not available. So I just went with normal development, knight f3. He played h6 just to kick my bishop out. Again, he could have played e5, but I would have probably just traded and we would have been in kind of a boring situation. I'm guessing he didn't want that because he was just higher rated than me. So I moved.
And what does that mean? Does he just think if it keeps it boring, or why would he do that if he's higher rated?
Well, there is a chance it might be a draw, and if it's a draw, well, I gain rating points and he loses.
He doesn't want to draw you.
He wants to beat me because he feels like he's better than me, and he is better than me. Okay. Mm-hmm. So here the main move is bishop e3. However, I was deciding between this move, bishop e3, and I was deciding between the other move, bishop f4. Ultimately, I chose bishop f4 because after bishop e3, there's this really annoying knight g4 move. Mm-hmm. However, I failed to see that I could just play bishop f4, and it's fine because I'm going to kick this knight away with h3, and g4 is not a really good square for his knight, and I'll have to go back, and I'll gain a tempo. But anyway, I did decide to do that move. I decided to just play bishop f4. And now he actually has a pretty good move. Pause if you want to find it. So the really good move that he can play is... Are
they supposed to, hit pause and then think about it?
Yeah.
Okay, gotcha, okay.
So the moves that he's supposed to play is e5.
Hmm.
And this move, you might just be thinking you could just take, but you can't because of the move knight h5. And now, if you take here, this bishop gets eaten, and now black is just up 1 material point. And if you don't take, and you just retreat your bishop, either to e3 or g3. g3 probably is best. You can just take, and after taking back, just recapture on e5. And this is actually a better position because now you have the bishop pair, and it's a pretty open position, and white has lost their whole space advantage.
Yeah. The old bishop pair in the open position gets them every time.
So what he played? What he played instead though was knight bd7, which isn't as great of a move. He's just trying to develop, and he didn't see this move. So next move, I played queen d2, just to gain pressure on the h6 move. One of the downsides of playing h6 is that now queen d2 is a move I want to play anyway, and now you have to waste the tempo guarding it. So king h7. Now I saw that he could play e5 now, and there wasn't really a good way for me to defend it. So I just decided if he plays e5 and I trade twice, I'm going to want a rook on the d file if it opens up. So I played rook d1. I was thinking about castling queenside, but I decided against it since I have all these weaknesses and all these pawns are pushed forward. So he ended up playing knight h5, which was not a very good move. His idea was just to kick me back, but it actually kicked me back to a better square because I actually really wanted to be on e3 because it supports d4 and it's just a safer square in general. And then he's where he started really messing up. I just got a really position out of the opening against him. He played this move, and so the reason this is so bad because now this knight on h5 doesn't have anywhere to go to because these are taken by their own pieces, and these two are just these two right here and here are just in bad squares because you just can't move to them. So that knight would be trapped. So if I ever got to play like a g4 move, it would be trapped, and so I can take advantage of this right now. So I played h3, which is preparing g4, because right now you can't play it because he just takes. So now this knight just doesn't have anywhere to go. And, I mean, his options really for squares, he's never going to be able to move to these two squares. So he's going to either have to move this bishop back, which I'm not sure he wants to move his knight to g7 anyway. It's not a very good square. Or he moves his knight somewhere. I don't think he wants to move it back. And g8 is a good square in that it covers h6, which is one of my pressure points, so he went with that move. So now I play g4. I'm just gaining space, and it's actually probably a really good idea in this position because I'm forcing his knight back with the gain of tempo, and I don't really care about my king's safety. I didn't really want to castle anyway because this rook is in a good position, like lined up against this king. And so now he has to just move his knight back, and I just gain a lot of space. So he moved his knight back. Best move would be g5, which attacks the h6 and the f6 knight both at once. And then once this knight moves, probably wants to move to h5. You can take here and open a file, or you can just play h4 and trust that the file will get opened eventually. Maybe knight h2, knight g4 action, bishop maybe taking on h5, sacking on h5, taking here. You can really bust the black's king side open. So, however,
why wouldn't he take with the pawn?
Oh, at the g5. Well.
Oh, because then your knight can take.
Yeah.
The check. That would be.
And now it's with...
this is why I'm on 1170. Okay, go ahead.
And now it's with check. So now you have an option to play another move like h4 and h5. h4, h5, right? Like
March. Yep.
Open the file and get to the king. Okay. So after knight h4, uh, he played e6, and this, I don't want to say it wasn't a good move, but it probably wasn't a good move. It was just kind of hoping that I would fall for uh, this knight takes e4 trap, where he then takes my knight, and since it's a discovery, once I take back, he wins a pawn. I mean, the other thing he could possibly be considering is d5 at some point, though I don't think it's useful. So now, my plan was to continue with knight g2 and f3, and then follow it up with h4, h5, right? Just go for the attack on the king. With my knight maybe going to f4. But now that I saw he could play d5, I was like, but what if I play f4 and e5? And that would be a great position. But the problem with that is that fails to take into account the this tactic. So, yep, I just fell for it. I played f4. And now he just took it, and the idea is that there's not really anything you can do, right? Like, he's attacking your queen. If you move your queen, he takes your knight, and he's already up a pawn. Once you take back, he wins a whole piece. So you can't do that. So you can't move your queen. Really, the only option is to take back, which is what I played. And then after he takes on an h4 check, he's just up a pawn. And so I played bishop f2 because I wanted to gain a tempo and kick the queen out of there. And I wanted to keep my knight on e4 in a good spot. Queen e7. So now I'm down a pawn, but I can still come back from this because of black's weak king and all my firepower launching to the king's side. So here I played. Here the best move again just would have been g. No, sorry. Got a little bit of a cold. So the best move here would have been g5. Because he would have probably had to play h5. It would probably just force open a file, maybe get f6 for my knight. But I really wanted d6 for my knight because I saw how that would attack all of these weak spots and not let him move to any of those. So I played c5 instead. And if he takes, I'll just take back, and I open the d file for my pieces, and I still get d6. So he just went ahead and played d5, just gaining space, and now d4 is a little bit of a weakness. So I played knight d6. Yep, just following my plan. He ended up playing knight f6. So his goal right now, he sees how good my knight is, and his goal is to play knight e8 or knight e4. And his goal is to try and trade that thing off. Because once he does that, he'll just be up a pawn. So I knew I couldn't let them do that. So I played bishop h4. And so now it pins the knight to the queen. And queen doesn't really have a good square that it can move to that would get out of this. So he's kind of in a trap situation. So he has to play a move that gets his queen out of this, and he played queen e7. Not a good square for the queen. Again, like, it's just blocked by this pawn, blocks the bishop in. But again, his entire goal is just to trade this knight off. So what I should have played was
and your knight has nowhere to go.
Yeah, my knight has nowhere to go. Like, all of these squares are blocked. So I can't even retreat it and, like, go back on it. Like, the best I'll be able to do is just, like, trade with one of these pieces. So, what I should have played right now was I should have taken and taken. And now, well, he can't trade it off with the knight. He can trade it off with the bishop, and I'm sure he's going to play bishop e7 and bishop takes d6. But that's going to be a lot of time, and now I can strike forward with f5. And this is going to be really aggressive towards his king. I'm just taking advantage of the fact that his queen is blocking his bishop. So if I play f5 right now, like, he takes, I take, and now he can't take with his queen because of the knight, so he has to take with the pawn. And I move my bishop here, and now I'm going with rook g1 ideas. Bishop takes here is first and foremost, like, they're just pin. Like, I don't care if he checks here. I'll just go here. And, like, sorry. If he checks here, I can just take it. But, yeah, I can just take it. And if he checks with this queen here, I can just slide over here, and now he can't trade. So it's a tough position for him. However, I did not play that move.
Why not?
Because I wasn't really calculating that. I played the move bishop d3 because I was just trying to play f5. And I thought I couldn't play f5 before, but I didn't realize that his queen was blocking the bishop. Basically, it was just a mental block, and after all my calculation about why not to play after all my calculation about his bishop coming in here, I decided just not to do it, even though that is the wrong choice. So he ended up playing knight e8 anyway. So attacking my knight, and here this was probably the final nail in the coffin for me. So f5 should have been my move. It's kind of like a last-ditch effort. I haven't been playing well. But it's a good for a last-ditch effort because now I have the queen c2, queen g2 ideas. I have ideas on how to, break it open against this king. And, however, I played one of the worst possible moves you can play. I took this bishop. And now after he takes back, that bishop was the most horrible piece ever. Blocked on all sides, this queen, blocked by all these pawns. That bishop's never going to come to life. The reason I tried to decide for the bishop and not for the knight was because I wanted to play f5. And I just wanted to trade his bishop away. But I forgot that, with the queen blocking the bishop's not actually going to help. And this knight's actually probably going to help a lot more in this defense than the bishop would. So I played f5, though after this, there's not really much I can do left. Bishop f6. He's just really trying to trade down pieces. And I don't want to retreat, so I played queen f2. And if he takes, I'll take back, and I'll have my queen close to his king. So he just took, and now he's threatening this little tactic. So say I just play a move, say I just take back, right? I can't do that because he has queen e7 check, and after I move my king, he could take this bishop, and now he's just up so much. And even if I take this, and he takes back, and now my queen's pinned. It's just getting worse and worse. And I'm finally paying for all those king weaknesses I made on my king. And that when I play, these g4 and f4 moves. So, I played f5, bishop f6, queen f2 takes. So I decided to take there just to avoid all the threats, and I didn't want to retreat. But still, just trading pieces helps him because I'm behind. So he took back, and I took this pawn. I was just desperately trying to do something against g6, but I think at this point it was just futile because that just, even taking here, again, just opens the f-file for him, and my king is toast. He had to play rook e8 check, and I responded king f1 because, again, I didn't want to retreat because if I retreat one move, I'm practically over. So he ended up playing knight e4, attacking my queen, and I didn't want to trade when I was down. Because if I had, which is feasible, if I take here and he takes, that's pin. There's not really much I can do. He's just going to come in with queen takes f5, rook, double rooks. So I really just had to queen f4. I mean, it's still the same situation no matter what. This was just not a good game. He was just coming in from all directions. And he takes here. And now he's trying to trade when he's down. And the double pawns, he doesn't need to worry about that because this knight is just so strong. And he's threatening the fork here, which is, again, right now, just forks the king and rook. So now I have to deal with that. He's also threatening maybe the fork here at some point. So the double pawns don't really matter as I might be forced to just take that knight anyway. And he's going to get the rook on. So I played king g2. I'm just trying to stop that knight from coming into to g3 because that will end me. So he just put his extra rook on the file, and now he has rooks on both open files. And even though he's up 2 pawns, Like, he's up way more than that. Because I can't even play king h2. Like, I have to play king f3 because I can't let him play the knight f2. So I play king f3. None of my pieces really have anywhere to go. I can't move my rook to the f file. I can't trade. Like, not much I can do. So after king g6, I decided just to take. And then after king at e3, like, at this point, like, he's just going to march this pawn down. And there's not really much I can do about it. And promote. So, yeah. That was the game against Ian Moffit. A tough loss.
Ian Moffat's dad.
Ian Moffat's dad, Craig Moffit, yes.
Mm-hmm.
I just remember him as Ian Moffat for some reason. But a tough loss, just have to remember, don't trade your good pieces for bad pieces. That's one takeaway. Second one, always be wary about their tactical ideas and beware that, like, one move could be multiple. So, like, when he played e6, beware that, like, that could attack my knight. And then the third thing was just, play g5. Like, don't, that's not generalized. But, like, don't go for a long-winded plan if you just have an easy way to push forward with one move.
Don't take your time.
Yeah.
Just go for it. If
you
got a good spot. Cool. That was fun.
Yeah, it was.
Yeah. If everybody's watching and you want to put something in the comments about thoughts you had about the game, or you want to even have us look at a game, we're happy to do it. You see, I don't say much, but Grayson would be happy to tell you. So, we have a sign off?
Like and subscribe.
Nice sign off. That's not it.